Welcome back to Wembley Stadium. Not long now until kick-off in the Carabao Cup final. The first silverware of the season will be decided. Arsenal against Manchester City, of course. Plenty else going on in football just now. Let's reflect, Riyadh, first of all, on Friday night. I know you were at the Vitality Stadium for Bournemouth against Manchester United. The Sun on Sunday have a little piece about Red Devils in ref rant, hopping Ahmad. Raging United baffled by Diallo pen denial. They look like they might be making their feelings known to the PGMO. Have they got a point? Because there was a few controversial decisions in that game. You know what,
I think they do have a point. My colleague Mike Keegan as well has reported that they are going to be going to PGMO about this. Look, I think it's about their gripe was the inconsistency, and we have this talk, don't we, quite regularly about the application of the rules changing from one game to the next. This was literally almost very, very similar incidents within the same game, and that's what really sort of boiled Michael Carrick afterwards and Bruno as well, because there really wasn't that much difference between the Maguire challenge on Evan Ilson and Trophée on Ahmad literally a few moments beforehand. And I think that's what makes us irate, really, when VAR is meant to be this kind of safety net that catches these errors and sort of brings everything, all the decisions in line with one another. That didn't happen. So I could understand why they were angry. As a personal point of view, and we were just talking about this off air, I actually thought all of the penalty calls in that match, all three of them were soft. But there has to be a level of consistency, doesn't there? How can one be a foul and one not? And that was really the sort of crux of what Michael Carrick was complaining about. And I think it resonates with all of us. We just want to understand what is a foul, what isn't a foul, how can it change within the space of one half, let alone from game to game.
Charlie, in the Sunday Mirror, they've picked up on this as well as Manchester United maybe approaching the PGMO. Their headline is about Bruno Fernandes. It's farcical. You can see what they've done there. VAR is not going to go anywhere. We accept that. Is it just the way it is applied that needs to be amended and looked at?
Well, in this country, I mean, look, we've just had the Champions League programme, haven't we, in Europa League? And, with the odd exception, we don't talk about issues with VAR in the Champions League or in international football as much as we do in the Premier League. And look, and the other leagues have got their issues as well. It's just not the Premier League. You see some terrible ones in Serie A and stuff. But if UEFA can get it right most of the time, why can't the Premier League? And I agree with Riyadh's point. It's about consistency rather than the fact that I think with this season we've seen a lot of soft penalties. Players are diving, and we always know that players are told to go down, minimal contact. But it's got a bit silly now, But if a penalty's been given and that's the rule, well, that's the rule. But you're seeing as soon as you see a player throw their arms up in the air when they're getting a sort of a slight, knock on their shirt, tug of the shirt, or knock on their ankles, you know they're diving. But now it just seems that that's the way you can win the penalty. You can't blame them for doing that. But I would like to see all those shouts ignored. I was at a championship game yesterday, and obviously there's no VAR, but the game just carried on. Players, for them to hit the ground, they needed to be tackled quite hard. That's not the case in the Premier League.
Mark, Manchester United took the lead twice in that game, and maybe when it was 2-1, they may have thought if someone had said to them it's going to end in a draw, they might have thought 2 points dropped. But considering how the game ended and what happened yesterday with Chelsea and Liverpool, they might look back on this Friday evening at the Vitality as a massive point one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good weekend for them on the basis of what you said. And, Bournemouth isn't an easy place to go. But I think Bournemouth are on the longest unbeaten record in the Premier League right now. So I think we should give Bournemouth a little bit more respect and say that, they're a team that causes a lot of difficulties for the big teams. So, yes, United conceded 2 leads, but to come away with a point. I mean, obviously they lost at Newcastle prior to that in terms of the last away game. So maybe Michael Carrick's thinking they need to improve the away form a little bit. But the other teams are making it much easier for them in the sense that Liverpool and Chelsea and even Villa are just handing top 4 place on a plate.
Just carrying on with you, Mark, just picking up on Michael Carrick. I know you cover Manchester United week in, week out. Alison Rudd in the Sunday Times has written a piece about Michael Carrick and the current state of Manchester United and the way they play. She said